The
I'm
screaming
not
started
sure about
before
this.
Marcus even reached
Trust
the
me, it'll be
counter.
okay.
I don't care what your
Promise?
policy
promise.
is. I ordered a caramel latte, not this garbage. A man in an expensive suit was jabbing his finger inches from the young barista's face, his voice echoing through the crowded Seattle coffee shop. The girl couldn't have been more than 19, her hands trembling as she clutched the cup, her eyes glistening with tears she was fighting to hold back. Marcus felt his daughter Emma's hand tighten around his. She was only 7, but she understood cruelty when she saw it. Around them, dozens of customers had suddenly become fascinated with their phones, pretending not to notice. That's what people did now, wasn't it? They recorded confrontations for social media but rarely stepped in to stop them. "Sir, I made it exactly as you ordered," the barista whispered, her voice breaking. "If there's something wrong, I can remake it for free, I just need you to." "Are you calling me a liar?" The man's face had turned an alarming shade of red. He raised the cup as if to throw it, and that's when Marcus moved. "Hey." His voice was calm but firm as he stepped between them, one hand gently guiding his daughter behind him. "That's enough." The man turned his fury on Marcus, looking him up and down with obvious disdain. Marcus knew what he saw, a tired-looking guy in faded jeans and a wrinkled shirt, dark circles under his eyes from working double shifts at the warehouse. Not exactly intimidating. "Mind your own business," the man spat. "I would, except you're scaring my daughter and everyone else in here." Marcus kept his tone even. "The lady offered to remake your drink. That's more than fair. So you can accept that, or you can leave, but you're not going to stand here abusing someone who's just trying to do her job." For a moment, the man looked like he might explode. Then he seemed to register the crowd watching, several phones now openly recording. With a disgusted sound, he slammed the cup on the counter, splashing coffee across the surface, and stormed out. The tension in the shop dissolved like sugar in hot water. The barista burst into tears, this time from relief, and her manager rushed over to comfort her. Marcus turned to check on Emma. "You okay, sweetheart?" She nodded, her eyes wide. "That was like when you stopped those boys from being mean to me at school. Some people never grow up, I guess." He smiled and ruffled her hair. "Come on, let's get our hot chocolate and muffin and get out of here." As they waited for their order, Marcus noticed a woman at a corner table watching him. She was probably in her mid-40s, dressed simply in jeans and a cream sweater, with intelligent eyes and an expression he couldn't quite read. She smiled slightly when their eyes met, then returned to her laptop. Marcus thought nothing of it. 3 days later, Marcus was in the middle of his shift, operating a forklift in the warehouse's frozen section, when his supervisor found him. "Jackson, someone's here to see you. Says it's important." Marcus's heart jumped. Had something happened to Emma at school? He quickly secured the forklift and jogged to the break room, his mind racing through worst-case scenarios. The woman from the coffee shop was sitting at the plastic table, looking absurdly out of place among the grimy lockers and faded safety posters. "Mr. Jackson." She stood and extended her hand. "I'm sorry to interrupt your work. My name is Catherine Wells." The name meant nothing to him. "Is this about the coffee shop?" Because that guy was out of line, and actually, it is about the coffee shop, but not in the way you think. Her smile was warm, almost amused. "Can we talk for a few minutes?" Still confused, Marcus sat down. Catherine Wells settled across from him, and there was something about the way she carried herself that made him suddenly aware of how he must look in his stained work coveralls. "Mr. Jackson, I'm the CEO of Wells Industries. We manufacture sustainable packaging materials. Perhaps you've heard of us." He had. Wells Industries was massive, one of the biggest employers in the Pacific Northwest. "Okay," he said slowly. "But I don't understand what that has to do with." "I've been looking for someone for a very long time," Catherine interrupted gently. "Someone with integrity. Real integrity, not the kind people perform for cameras or put on resumes. The kind that shows up when it costs you something." She leaned forward. "Do you know that coffee shop has security cameras? I watched them later. You were the only person out of 47 people who intervened. 47 people watched that young woman being bullied, and only you stepped up." Marcus shifted uncomfortably. "Anyone would have. But they didn't. You did. And I've learned something in 30 years of business: character is the rarest resource on earth." She pulled a folder from her bag. "I need a VP of operations." Someone who can lead a team of 300 people, someone they'll actually respect and follow. Someone who understands that leadership means protecting people, not bullying them. Marcus stared at her. Ma'am, I operate a forklift. I never even finished college. I've got no experience in. You're raising a daughter alone, correct? Her mother passed away 2 years ago. The familiar ache bloomed in his chest. Yes. And you're working 55 hours a week here, taking online business classes at night, and still manage to volunteer as room parent for your daughter's class this year. I checked. Catherine's expression softened. I'm not looking for someone with a perfect resume, Mr. Jackson. I'm looking for someone who shows up when it matters. The rest we can teach. Marcus felt like he'd been hit by a truck. Why? He finally managed. Why would you offer this to a complete stranger? Catherine was quiet for a moment, her fingers tracing the edge of the folder. 20 years ago, I was a 26-year-old engineer with an idea for biodegradable packaging. I went to a bank for a business loan. The loan officer laughed in my face, told me to come back when I had a husband to co-sign. I ran out of that bank crying, ready to give up. She smiled at the memory. A janitor followed me outside. He told me his daughter had dreams too, and he couldn't stand to see someone stomp on them. He pulled out his wallet and handed me $300, probably his entire paycheck. Said it wasn't much, but it was a start. Did you pay him back? Marcus asked. I tried. Spent years trying to find him. Never could. Catherine's eyes glistened. That $300 gave me the courage to keep going. To find another bank. To build this company. I've spent 2 decades trying to find a way to pass on what he gave me. And then I saw you step up for that barista, with your daughter watching, teaching her by example what it means to be a good human being. I saw someone who understands what I learned, that we're all responsible for each other. Marcus looked down at his hands, calloused and stained from work. He thought about Emma, about the life he could give her with this opportunity. About finishing his education, about having time to attend her school events, about maybe not being exhausted every single day. There's one condition, Catherine added. Part of your job would involve starting a leadership program for young employees. Teaching them what real leadership looks like. Think you could do that? Marcus thought about the barista's face, about Emma's hand in his, about the janitor who had believed in a stranger's dream. Yes, he said, his voice steady. I think I could. Catherine smiled and slid the folder across the table. Welcome to Wells Industries, Marcus. Let's change some lives. As Marcus walked back through the warehouse to tell his supervisor the news, he thought about all the small moments that build a life. The choices we make when no one's watching, the stands we take when it would be easier to look away. He thought about his daughter and the world he wanted her to grow up in. Sometimes kindness is its own reward. And sometimes, just sometimes, the universe finds a way to pay it forward.